Okay, so if you've been following my videos, you'll know that when I did the tabletop video, I said that I do my one by videos differently. Like for example, this is a bench top or a desktop. For most of those, I'll use the one by material. So my one by material versus my two by material is joined together differently. So I got a bench top here that I need to glue up. So I'm going to use biscuits for that. So I'll show you how I do it. With that said, let's get dirty. Okay, so I have my bench top all laid out here. Now, this is the piece that I want on top, or the top of the bench. So I need to flip this over in order to put my marks where I want to put my biscuits. So when you flip it, you don't want to flip it like this. I mean, that's the easy and fast way, right? Yeah, it is, but once you do that, now your pieces are all wrong. Because what happens is we want our biscuit holes to join with this side here, right? But if we flip it over where we have our biscuit holes, it's now on the outside and it will not match up. So when we flip it, we got to pick them up and actually flip them over. So you can get all your pieces flipped over, and then we'll just line them up. So now I'm working on the back side. Now real quick, before I go any further, I'm just going to number these. So I got 5 pieces here. So I got them numbered 1 through 5. Now I want to make sure that they're lined up. Okay, so now that I have them lined up, I'm going to grab a T-square and I'm going to draw lines across. So that's where I want my biscuit cut. Now on the number 5 and number 1, I don't draw the line all the way because I may get confused and throw a biscuit cut in there. So just to be safe, I stop the line before I get to the end. Now we want to space our biscuits roughly about anywhere from 6 to 12 inches. So I'm doing, it looks like about 8. And I'm just going to finish drawing my lines all the way across. I have my lines drawn, but before I start cutting my biscuits, I'm just going to check, because on this Rex Betty, which I'm hoping I say that right, I have an adjustment here that I can set for 0, 10, 20, whatever biscuit I'm cutting. So I have the adjustment set to 10 because I'm going to be doing number 10 biscuits. So I also have an adjustment where I can change the angle, and I also have an adjustment that I can raise or lower where the biscuit is. Now I want the biscuit right in the center of the wood. I just grabbed a piece of scrap wood and measured out the center with my center finding tool. And then I just kept cutting until it was right in that center. So this is ready to cut. Now I just got to start cutting the holes for the biscuits. Now what I want to make sure of is that, okay, so I need to cut the biscuits on this side here of this piece of wood. So in order to do that, I've got to turn it around. But I got to remember, after I cut these biscuits, I got to remember to turn it back, okay? So I'm going to get started cutting all these biscuit holes, and then we'll move on. Okay, so I have the holes cut for this one here. So I've already turned it back around, and I'm going to set it here. So on the next one, I'm going to flip it around, cut these, and then cut these, and it'll be in the right direction that I want it to be. So I'm going to start with this side first. Okay, so we have all our biscuit notches cut. Let's just go over just a few things on the biscuit cutter if you're not familiar with one. So number 1, there is a small notch right here on the front. Now that notch is the center. So you want to line that notch up with the line you drew when you do the cut. Now the biscuit cutter is spring action, so you'll actually push it into the project and then it'll snap itself out. Now when you cut your biscuit, you want to pull the trigger and you want the blade to get up to full speed before you drive it in there. That way it's got a good cutting RPM going before you push it into the wood. So the last item I'd like to cover is the front plate, or the fence here. So when you have it against the wood, make sure that you have a firm grasp on that front plate when you go into the wood, okay? So get a good grip on that against the wood and then drive your tool in. Now before I do my glue up, I'm just going to take one of the biscuits and just use the tip of it to get out any extra sawdust that might still be in there. All right, so I have my bench top ready to clamp up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip up number 5, number 4, number 3, and number 2. These are the ones that I'm going to put the glue on. Now for number 1, the only thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue into each of the cuts I have. So I'm going to get the glue on there now. Okay, so I have the glue on these 4. Now I just want to put just a dab of glue into each of these biscuit cuts. So now I'm going to start inserting the biscuits, and I'm going to put a biscuit in each cut that I have upright. So there we go. I have my biscuits in. Now I'm going to come back and just put a little bead of glue over the top of each biscuit. All right, so the glue is ready. I can put them down and just slide them into place. Okay, so I have them into place. I have all my lines lined up perfectly. Now I want to put some cross members on the top here. Okay, so when I'm putting the cross members on, I'm not tightening them down all the way because I'm going to be using the clamp to squish them together. So I still want them to be able to move. So they still need to be flexible. All right, so now I'm ready to tighten down my clamps. And I don't want to hulk them in there. I just want them to be able to squeeze it together. And then I'll throw one bar clamp on top. Okay, now that I have that, I'll just put a little bit more pressure on these cross members. So there it is. It's good to go. Let it dry overnight. Come back to it tomorrow. You'll probably see my next video after this will be making a bench. So now you may be asking, well, when do I use dowelings versus biscuits versus the pocket hole method you did with the tabletop? You know, that's a good question. This is just the way I do it. So what I call this a working top. So it's my 1x material. This is a bench top. So like my bench tops and my desktops usually are 1x material. I'll use biscuits. Now my 2x material, like tabletops, countertops, I will use the pocket hole method. Now, when it comes to the dowelings, I like to use the dowelings so I make a tabletop. I will use the dowelings if I'm putting like a frame or a breadboard end onto that particular tabletop. So that's completely my method. I just feel, and you know, this may not be 100% correct, but I feel that the biscuits give me a little bit more flexibility for things like bench tops and desktops. So That's just the way I've done it. I've always done it that way. So these will get biscuits, my tables will get pocket screws, and my breadboard ends and framing will get dowelings. Again, completely up to you. So I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified of new episodes as they become available. If you're new to the woodworking hobby, check out my Woodworking for Beginners video series. It's an 11-part series with step-by-step instructions. Just gives you the basics of woodworking. It'll get you started. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments section. I'll get to them as soon as I can. If you'd like to support my channel, I'll put a link in the description if you'd like to make a donation. And feel free to share me on your social media sites. That's actually a huge help too. So until next time, keep it safe. Supersize, return to splendor with rock and roll inferno. No.